you're very well known in the four-wheel drive industry. No, you're very well known, and you've built a phenomenal brand in MITS alloy. I have one on one of our vehicles out the front that I drove here today, and you've been, I guess, in the public eye through four-wheel drive 24/7, but then also built your own brand. And what I always find interesting about you, and you've said this to me a few times, is you don't consider yourself to be a four-wheel driver.
No, I'm really not a four-wheel
You've
driver.
done a lot of four-wheel driving for someone that doesn't call themselves a four-wheel driver. But before you started MITS, like what set you on this path? Like, were you involved in the outdoors growing up? Like, what made you end up where you are?
Well, okay. At the beginning?
Yeah,
Yeah, righto. Sweet. So I'm a Batlow boy, born and bred. So if you don't know, it's down on the western side of the Snowy Mountains. Yeah. My parents met down there. My dad was the local accountant and the head of the secretary of the Batlow Apple Cooperative.
Yeah.
And my mum was like the vice principal at the high school. And we grew up on sort of 70 acres-ish, just outside of town, surrounded by apple orchards and just like...
Beautiful.
I spent every day out in the fields, in the paddocks, just diving in wombat holes and like playing in streams and doing all that sort of stuff. So I was never one for school, so it was just always out and about. And I've done that my entire life. If I'm sitting stagnant at a desk for too long, I just go nuts.
And now you're doing the same thing with your kids, right? You're getting them out and getting them dirty and letting them live life on the farm.
Both the farm and then my kids, they're all riding bikes. Like I got a 3-year-old, 6-year-old and an 8-year-old, boy, girl, boy. And they all ride bikes, they all go to the beach, they all surf, they all try and fish and,
sick.
All that sort of stuff. It's good.
And it's amazing, like so many of my guests, they start their lives being exposed to the outdoors and then it continues with them forever. And then now they're trying to get their kids to live the same lifestyle. Yeah. And I think it's the best thing that you can possibly do.
Yeah,
right?
Totally. Like, just my whole life has been revolved about being outside and making things. Like I would just forever be making dirt bike jumps or building little ramps or things like that. Like one of my good friends I grew up with, I moved to Port Macquarie when I was about year 2, so sort of 95-ish. Yep. And we moved into this little suburb and I had a few really close mates, Tim, Brent and Riley, and they were all in the same street. And we'd meet at 5 in the morning and we'd just head off into the bush before the bus came.
Sick.
And we'd ride our bikes and just, it was a proper idyllic kid life,
Yeah.
It was good.
And that sort of like adventure has always been there, obviously, like pushing for going and seeking out adventure even before you get on the school bus.
Yeah. So like we would do that, and I would say I'm not strong at school. So you're all aware, we can get this out of the way real freaking early, is MITS is Tim Backwards, and it was actually my derogatory nickname in high school. I got ridiculed because I'm a terrible speller.
Doesn't matter,
It doesn't matter. It doesn't matter, right? We're sitting here.
You're not teaching English and you're not writing books.
No. My mum's properly dyslexic, right? And she was an English teacher. And I was like, how the hell do you do that? Like,
she
had to work 5 times harder than anyone else.
Yeah, wow.
But
So school wasn't for you?
Nah.
But you had other interests?
Yeah. So when we weren't at school, we were doing all of those great things. And then I would sit in class, especially French and religion, because I went to like a Catholic school in Port Macquarie, and I would sit there and hold my breath and watch the clock and see if I could get a minute and then past a minute, just to practice for surfing in the afternoons.
That's so
like diving,
good.
just like
priorities.
And I was like, and it always peeved me because the bus that I caught home was the last bus to leave. So like I was the last kid at the school sitting there, and I was the first one that wanted to be out of there every day.
That's so good. I can relate to that in a lot of ways because I was not. I went to a really good school. My parents paid for me to go to a great school, and I squandered that investment massively.
It was so wasted.
But school wasn't for me. It obviously wasn't for you. And like for so many people, I think conventional learning doesn't work.
Nah.
It doesn't define you though.
Totally.
And it doesn't define whether or not you're going to be successful in life. It just changes the pathway that you need to take to get there, right?
No, I don't think. I think I've got a significant advantage for the way I think over most, normal people.
Yeah.
If I'd say I'm abnormal, but
like neurodivergent. I think that's what they call us.
One slightly Asperger's talking to another Asperger's,
just twitching a little bit. Yeah.
So no, school wasn't the thing, right? It was really, it taught me how to cope with really uncomfortable situations. That's probably what I got out of my childhood, was because I was not great at the school side of things. I struggled, and it looked like I was no good at it, but I was brilliant outside of it. So it forced me to be really, really clever at just sort of, getting by.
Yeah.
And then that became really good in my later life, and as I left school. So I finished school only because I didn't want to get a trade. I went to a trade school for 11 and 12. I loved it. I thought it was brilliant because I got to use my hands every day, all that sort of stuff. And I'm a big advocate for that. Like, I have those kids come in here all the time at MITS, and I'm like, apprenticeships, like getting people back into the trade, all that sort of stuff.
So you were saying that, like, you did the trade school year 11 and 12, but you didn't want to get a trade. You wanted to finish school.
No, I just so I just wanted to finish school, right? Because I wanted to go travelling. I wanted to be a snowboarder. Yeah. We grew up in the Snowy Mountains. Like, we'd go every year for a week or two with the family, and I wanted to be a snowboarder. I thought that was like the absolute tits.
Yeah.
So I finished year 12, got out of there the first ski season, went down, got a job with Perisher, and just met my people, right? Like, properly met my people. There was so many people that had the same sort of life that I did, and we worked hard really every day. We partied really hard. We had a fat time. And the brilliant thing about that was, when I was teaching, I started off with kids. So first season was like part kids, part beginner adults. And you had the opportunity in that where every day you would teach a new group twice a day, and it could be the best or the worst day of their life, depending on how you sort of made it for them and how you handled it. Like, so if you were having an off day, the whole class would have an off day because they'd fall over. But if you were there and you're like, get up, you got this, rah, 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 then they were having a sick time. And plus, you would meet 50 new people every day, which was properly exciting at 18, Like, you're like, oh, what's your life? Where did you come from? How did you get to where you were? Like, so you rub shoulders with concreters all the way through to CEOs the whole time. So it was like, I just absorbed that out of people. And that was probably more fun than the snowboarding side of it. Over a couple of years, I think I did 6 or 7 seasons at Perisher. So I got right into it in the end. And then, a few seasons in WIS, and then travelled around the States and bits and pieces there. So, which was cool. I got to the point, though, where to go further in that and make any kind of real money and have a life outside of it, I thought, I'm going to have to fully dive into this and then really grind, or go and get a trade. So I met some guys through my cousin when we were at the snow, and they were like fitters up here in the Hunter Valley. And they were awesome. And I was like, and one of them goes, hey, I got an apprenticeship. Ben's his name, good fella. And he got me apprenticeship, right? And I went first day, turned up on a coal mine, and I was like, I am not in Kansas anymore.
Going from Perisher to a coal mine in the Hunters.
Dude, you're hanging out with people on holidays all the time, and everyone's having a sick time and all the rest of it. And then all of a sudden you're like full blown, like 3 a.m. starts to get to work.